Coming first, pretty unique, pretty awesome deal. College football has this grandiose day. It's called National Signing Day, and here at Northern we're no different, so I wanted to make sure I thank everybody for being here. We really appreciate it. The process is really a challenging one, and one that really is high-packed in terms of pressure, really from a parent's perspective, a student-athlete's perspective, and coach's perspective. And today is the build-up to the end, if you will. So it's really an exciting day for us, exciting day on many levels. But we are thrilled to announce a signing class that I think is as good as anyone in America. We've recruited some great schools, the likes of Cass Tech in Detroit, St. Thomas Aquinas in Fort Lauderdale, who are consistently in the top 25 in the nation in high school football. So I can't say enough about how excited we are as a football staff about this group of young men. I think we recruited 2 local guys that we're expecting great things from. And then we obviously mixed in some other places, and I feel great about it. So at this point, any questions, we're ready to go.
Why don't you just start off talking about the 2 local UP kids?
Yep. Jared, who's a big defensive end for us, outside linebacker type kid, bucks in, and I think we're excited as could be about him. He really came up on his visit and wowed us. Did a great job. You know, recruiting there's a bunch of different things that goes into it, and I think the evaluation is critical for your staff to do a great job evaluating who fits your program, your needs. That was one of the things we talked about as a football staff was early on is how do we create great symmetry up front. We did that with this recruiting class, recruiting 6 defensive linemen, and we feel like he's one of those guys who do a great job for us. On the other end, offensively, our H-back is a really versatile type position, and we've got Kyle Root out of the Upper Peninsula, a big, strong kid, and it was a pleasure recruiting him. Great family. I think he's going to do a great job for us, being an H-back for us, which for us is a hybrid fullback / tight end position. So we're excited for both those guys.
Who do you see possibly making an immediate impact, like a Keenan Collier that came in?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to put that on guys. I can tell you that the impact on the program's success immediately, there's a bunch of guys that have a chance to do that. Chris Washington out of St. Thomas, who's a defensive back. Deontay Gruton, who's also a defensive back. Those guys are guys I think can come in. Mark Walker, who's a guy from Florida as well. Pat Ryan, I think can do a great job defensively. You know, it's tough. Dominic Hamilton out of Cass Tech, I think, was an Akron commit who then committed to us late in the process. I think he has got a great chance. And that's just to name a few on the defensive side of the ball. I would say the defensive guys have more of a chance of impact right away. We felt that was a need for sure. Offensively speaking, a young man named Marcus Tucker, who's a wide receiver, who came out of Grand Blanc High School, bounced around a little bit, was a Division I basketball player, and I think he's going to be very special. Just to name a few, I think there's a couple other guys in the offense that will have a great chance as well. So that's where we are.
Is it going to be necessary for some of these, true freshmen to step up defensively with what you guys lost on the defensive end? Eddie Knobloch and Zach Anderson.
Yeah, I think we've got a great group of guys on defense coming back. Nick Krause, I think we expect great things from him, and Brandon Parsons is going to do a great job for us. So I think we've got a bunch of guys on the defense right now that can impact, we can win football games with. With that being said, we did graduate some guys, and we knew we had to get better and create more depth up front. So I think because of that, some valuable minutes will be played from some of these guys.
Recruiting on the defensive end of the ball, how much easier, what was it like this year compared to last year, when you didn't have that defensive staff set?
Yeah, I thought we did a great job last year creating a foundation for a great first recruiting class. We recruited some really good football players that are here right now that did a great job in the classroom for us, really developed in the weight room. We're excited to see them go. And I think this just intertwines with, of course, now we have a defensive scheme in place. So obviously, we could sell a commodity, a product that's there. So yeah, I think there's no question it was 100% easier. And then you add the fact that we hired 3 exceptional coaches that really worked their tail off for us, and added to the exceptional coaches we have. So it just added for just a completely different energy, if you will, into the recruiting process.
One thing that you'd said prior was that you really need to hit downstate Michigan, and that's obviously the biggest part of this recruiting class.
Yeah.
What did you guys find when you went down there? Some good talent.
Yeah, we felt great talent. I mean, no question, some great talent. And I think we really got after it in terms of being downstate and recruiting the guys that we earmarked. I'm going to tell you guys this: there wasn't many guys we lost that didn't go play Division I football. Off the top of my head, I can't think more of maybe one or two. The rest opted to go play at a Division I program or a 1AA program. And I think we had great success downstate. The reception from the high school coaches was awesome. Every single ounce of resource we had in week one was in Michigan, was downstate. So we really felt like there wasn't a stone that we didn't unturned. We evaluated film on every single young man that was viable. So I feel great about the Detroit area, if you will, recruiting class.
You bring in quarterbacks. How does this help or hurt your system right now with what you have at this point? Because you're always looking for competition. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, do you have a set quarterback for week one?
You're big with the quarterback thing.
I love quarterbacks.
Quarterback thing. I got you. You know, I think whenever you build a program, you have to build great depth. And I think competition breeds success. Obviously, Cody did an amazing job for us at the end of the season. We won some critical football games with him as our quarterback. And what we've done is we've built a depth chart, if you will, of quality football players. And I don't think with Ryan Morley becoming healthy, with the two guys that we brought in, with Jay Tolverson, who we have on the roster, I don't think that there is a guy that we can't win football games with, which is critical to college football. You got to have guys that can step up and play. So I feel great about the position, to answer your question.
With the running backs, I shouldn't just go running backs. With the guy from Florida, how do you sell Northern Michigan University, a remote location, not near a big city or anything like that? How do you sell that to a guy in Florida?
Yeah, you know, it was about a year ago, a month, 2 months to the day when we had this press conference when I was put in place as the head coach. The product is foolproof. It's an amazing place. For me, there is no negative to being in Northern Michigan. It's a beautiful location in the country. It's an amazing facility. You get a great education, and you play at one of the premier college football programs in America on a Division II level. So if there wasn't much that had to be sold, to me, there isn't much competition in terms of a kid that's got options to play on this level. We should be able to get them all.
Could you tell us a little about one of those Florida guys, Rodney Lamar, out of Florida Atlantic?
Yep, Rodney Lamar's a transfer player. Comes to us with an unbelievable amount of potential to be a great player on this level. Explosive, all the things you would want in a defensive lineman. Good football player, played some quality minutes for them. So we're excited to have him. Good football player and a real good kid.
How many more transfers are you looking to bring in, or are you still, like you told me before, you want to avoid that route? You'd rather bring in the the young freshmen to build foundation.
There's probably a couple more still on the board, but we feel great what we have at this point.
As far as recruiting goes, anything surprise you with some of these kids? Sleepless nights, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, recruiting, there's always going to be sleepless nights. I mean, you've got to hustle, you got to go. And I think we did that as a staff. We did home visits. We were in Detroit, Chicago, Fort Lauderdale, and spent the week in people's living rooms and gain that trust. And yeah, it's a nail biter to the end for sure, especially if you're recruiting guys that are also being recruited real heavily by other schools.